Namaste. Happy Diwali to each one of us here. Diwali, the festival of light, is the celebration of light within each and of each, and as in the oneness of us coming together. The light we refer to is the light of consciousness, source blessings, God grace, grace of transformation, the grace of completing ourselves, the grace of prayers answered. Diwali is a time when in India all families come together. When the new is celebrated, everybody wears new clothes, the new. It's time when we've let go of the past. So the new is the gift. And this gift that we receive is the higher, greater levels of consciousness. So divine beings, for those of you whom we are connecting for the first time, it is so joyful that here we are, reconnecting to that ancient light. Let me begin with the story of Guru Ayah, who is our Guru. He had meditated for 18 years, drinking a cup of milk a day up above the Arunachala. His Guru, who was born 200 years ago, Ayah Vaikunta. Ayah Vaikunta was born in the Nadar community, which at that time was considered to be one step beyond untouchable. There was a rule that the untouchables were need to be 60 feet away from a Brahmin. And the Nadars was considered, they were told to be 120 feet away from a Brahmin. They were not allowed into the temples. So Ayah Vaikunta, when he was little, he was born with physical ailments. They had to carry him around in a cradle all the way through his near adult age. One day, he got up and started dancing and walking toward the ocean. The whole village was surprised when they heard about this, and they all followed him. And he goes to the ocean in Tiruchendur, goes to the ocean and walks into the ocean and does not come back. So everybody thinks he has drowned himself, and they go back to his village. But his mother stays on in faith that her son had not drowned. 3 days later, he emerges from the ocean, transformed, filled in light and radiance. He says, I am Narayana. So now, as he came out, here was a being who was just radiantly awake. And he began performing miracles all the way through as he journeyed back to his village. But this did not go well with the rulers at that time, because this was a low caste person claiming to be God. So they put him in prison. And in prison, they tried to feed him with poison as in herbs, and nothing happened to him. They even brought a tiger, and nothing happened to him. The tiger did not, simply laid down. So a series of miracles happened around Guru Ayah Vaikundar, that they let him go. Then Ayah Vaikundar went into tapas, which is meditative stillness within, for 6 years. And after that, he began his teachings. And his first teaching was, light the lamp inside you. Light our innermost lamp. And once that lamp is lit, there's no need for a priest. There's no need to go to a temple or a church or a mosque. It's all within. All that you seek of God, the divinity, is within each of us. Light that lamp. Now, that lamp that is lit with a mantra. So let me invoke Guru Ayah to our presence and share the vibrancy of his with us all. Ayah, Ariyum Giriyum Marigiri Ariyom Namo Narayana Narayana Namam Nalvarum Nemam Ayah Namam Ayah Undam. So this is the mantra our Guru Ayah of Tiruvannamalai. The mantra grace he gave us. So this mantra grace is light of consciousness. And this light of consciousness is there within every one of us, waiting to wake up. It's Mother Kundalini awakening, and now, no matter what, the doors have been opened. Our journey can only move forward. Our transformation happens. Our realities start shifting towards our highest purpose. I relate the light of consciousness to my own inner journey when I felt my death and Bhairavaseka Swami took me to Sri Kalahasti. And at night, when he started taking me through the rituals, he asked me to hold a mantra. And as I held that mantra, I began to feel an embryo like blue being inside me that felt so assuring in peace, in harmony, in love. It felt so comfortable. And that being that started growing bigger and vaster, and soon I felt it as the spirit in this body. When I came back, I had previously been smoking over 20 cigarettes a day. I couldn't smoke anymore. I was a non-vegetarian and I couldn't eat meat anymore. The moment I saw meat, I felt, oh my God, this is my own flesh of a different body. Everything transformed in me. And why? It's simply because there was another layer of consciousness that I had received. This layer of consciousness, this is the light. And this is the light that is celebrated in Diwali. This is the light that we celebrate within ourselves, the higher consciousness, the greater consciousness. If we look into seeing most of us who are on the journey of being awake, we realize that every day is a new crisp day. Every moment has a past behind that we have let go. Every moment has a crisp present of the new. And this is timelessness giving us time. The now really means the timelessness perfectly aligned in our time. So what is this timelessness? What is this timelessness, Grace? So when Guru Ayah woke up and began his teachings about lighting the lamp within, this became a social revolution. Almost in a moment, there was a huge, peaceful revolution, a revolution of change. Within a moment, all the beings of that community had started rising up career-wise in what they could do, in their creativity. Every dimension of the person changed because now they've tapped into their superconscious states of mind by beginning the journey towards light. This superconscious states really means being the many as one. In life, there are challenges in so many different dimensions, from relationships to financials to the health and vitality, and all of these dimensions are the human. And yet, when we wake up, we have begun to transcend all of this. We have begun to start vibrating at the source gifted dimensions that brings to us what is necessary. In the caves where sages meditate, there is a lamp always kept alight. Guru Ayah would insist us to keep that lamp alight at all times through a meditation. That lamp represents the third element. That is, the first is earth, which is the body and that which we experience as from physical. The second is water, which is the mind and thoughts and all of that which is fluid and reality that keeps changing. Then is fire, the fire outside and the fire within, and all the states from the fire of thought to the fire of every organ in the body to life itself, fire. And yet fire connects to the next elements, which is air, and that beyond air. And then comes ether, which is infinity, the infinite space that holds it all. So this sacred fire is represented as Goddess Mahalakshmi. In other words, when we are meditating in our cave and going deep within into ourselves, this lamp provides for us what is necessary. So when we are in need of food, somebody brings the offerings. When we are in need of anything that is necessary, that is fulfilled. This light is consciousness. This lamp that we light within ourselves is that which invokes what is the intent of that prayer. Now, after Guru Ayah Vaikunta, waking up. He sat in tapas, meditation, for 6 years. This is to pull in all the energies to transform the remnants of the I to the we. This is to step into the ancient primordial light of meditative grace of all the gurus before, to step into that we. So when we journey within, we are actually awakening the vast ancient grace of all the Siddhas now in our experience and in our own ascendance. This within is Mother Kundarani, and as she rises, she blossoms inwards with the states of experience of joy and states of experience of wisdom and the states of experience of all the dimensions, chakra by chakra. But likewise, the realities too, shifting and changing and moving towards from being the planet to being the sun. The journey to being the higher vibrancy at all times, being the light. When we are the light, we are the vortex. So when you go up the mountain to meet Guru Ayah, we are not supposed to be talking to him. They even recommend us not looking at him. He looks at you. You simply receive the grace. Let him absorb. And that mantra grace we are given as we recite, it is a promise of Guru Ayah that whatever is the intent, that is fulfilled. That promise of fulfillment is the sound Arakara, Arakara. So when you receive a Guru Ayah's mantra grace, we are in reality receiving the grace blessings of presence of that ancient being as in tapas. So the word tapas itself is so important, so vital in our journey. As we wake up, the body and the mind are now on a mode of dissolving itself from the cyclical karmic dimensions of several lifetimes. So at this time, challenges of all nature pops up. We might say, hey, I got into the spiritual path for my peace. And why is it that now I am finding so many crazy things happening in my realities? The reality is, all of these challenges have come to us so we can diminish it, so we can dissolve it, so we can convert, we can transmute it, we can transform it. So our problems has become opportunities, our limitations has become blessings, and we are able to move to the next level of consciousness. So in the next, as we move from one layer of consciousness to the other layer of consciousness, there's the grace. This grace is the light of blessings we receive to become the higher and highest self. So within each is the self, the higher self. But in this higher self is a mind, and that beyond the mind, and that beyond the mind is the states of Turia. Sages mentioned there are 7 states of Turia, 18 states of Turia, some say 210 states of Turia. But as you go layer by layer by layer, as you climb up the layers of Turia, We are beginning to experience the unlimited dimensions of Siddhi and Riddhi. Siddhi and Riddhi, Siddhi is the power of the extra powers, the extraordinary powers we possess. Riddhi is the amazing sharpness of intellect. These two are said to be the wives of Lord Ganapathi. In other words, when we have woken up our root chakra, our sushumna, our spine has woken up. And as the spine wakes up, so does all the innate genius within us. So does the clarity of the mind and the awareness of the mind, and the mind becomes optimal. Now, as these two happen, we are also experiencing the state above the mind. So when you meditate and we are going into that place of nothingness that holds everything, now we are experiencing the states of Turia. This state of Turia is when we are doing something so exciting, so inspired, we've forgotten hunger, we've forgotten heat and cold, we've forgotten anything to do with the body and the mind. We are now in the timeless state, and this in the state of Turia, flowing. Now we are experiencing the gift of yoga, the gift of meditation, the gift of tapas. So within our journey into light is knowing the states of Turia. And Turia also holds for us the greater wisdom that is beyond our five senses, beyond our memory bank. What is from Turia is our inner guru aligning to the vast grace of whom we are, the vastness of whom, of the vast grace of that ancient tapas stepping in, the we happening. Through Diwali especially is the celebration of the victory of light. So if there was light, there had to be darkness. And this darkness is, from the karmic viewpoint, the limitations. The light is the higher states of mind that has transcended the karmic limits and now is able to create destiny. So within our journey of ascendances, letting go of the limits of the past, for no matter what it is, when we talk of addiction, trauma, and all of this, this is all the mind in its meditative state, in its states of memory. So all of these memory and others is literally subdued, dissolved by the light of consciousness. And this light of consciousness, when it vibrates within us, all we experience is the states of joy. Lord Shiva, the Lord of Yoga, the yogi, is mentioned as Sachidananda, the being of bliss, experiencing consciousness. Sat, consciousness. Chit, experience. Chit is also consciousness. Sat is also experience. Ananda, bliss. So when we are in the bliss of states of Turia, we are Lord Shiva. This is why we say namaste to each other, because we simply recognize our higher states of ourselves in each. Take it one step further. Worship each other. When you do this namaste, think we are worshipping humanity, worshipping every being, the highest self of every being that we worship. So in awakening our light is the journey towards becoming the inner sun. And as the inner sun, at all times beginning to experience the pillar of light. And being the pillar of light is the vortex, the higher vibrant vortex that guards us, protects us, guides us, takes us through all the challenges. It enables us to be from the wisdom state. It enables utilize the emotions rather than get caught up by the emotions. Utilize the emotions to transcend the emotions to work on aligning the reality to a higher self. So it is natural that we create heavens in our journey every moment. Heavens means harmony, love, abundance, sharing, and being grace that allows grace to flow. So we each have this amazing superpower. That is why in all cultures, the angel is depicted with wings. These wings is to depict that unlimited empowerment we are when we are with light. So when we are with light and that of consciousness, we are transmitting a radiance in our presence. We are allowing and invoking light to be with us. So when we are on the pathway, everything that comes to us from the higher plane. You have children, the children are divine. We seek a reality. That reality comes as its own divine form. But there's time and there's timelessness. Timelessness is whom we are as reality. The timelessness of having who were we before this birth, the timelessness of after that. That timelessness that has seen so many births is now witnessing this birth. So at all times when we remind ourselves we are the timeless being in this experience of time, now we are aligning the highest purpose. So why are we here? To evolve and grow. A step further, to move the collective light above, to uplift ourselves and humanity. So when we are awake in consciousness, we understand the value of time because we know we are in timelessness with one flash of an eyelid, the entirety of a lifetime, and yet this one moment, the eternal. So in this eternal moment, what are we here to do? Why are we here? We are here to simply allow that light to shine. So when you say Happy Diwali, it is the wish that our light of each is celebrated in each. And it is allowing each of us to be whom we are. And who are we? Awake in the light, we are natural leaders since we know. Since we know and are doing this from inspiration, we lead. We move the frontiers of humanity in our doings. Now, as we move the frontiers of humanity, simply in being and inspired in our heart doings, there is transformation happening. I realized in my death experience, when I came into the newer consciousness, when I could not smoke cigarettes anymore, when I could not drink anymore, when I could not eat meat anymore. The transformation from one end to another. It was so much, it was so much with ease. This transformation from one layer of consciousness to the other layer of consciousness. And that I realize is the Guru's grace, the Siddha grace, the grace of receiving that embryo within. And this light of embryo is within each of us. And as it grows bigger and bigger and bigger, one thing we need to know is how big we really are. Temple doors are 25, 35, 40 feet high to represent the vast being that we are. This is the vastness of consciousness, huge. When we have recognized this huge, immense beingness of ours, so is the thought converted to wisdom. When we listen to a master speak, and when we feel the wisdom, what we are really receiving is the grace of consciousness from one to another. You are receiving a piece of that a piece of the seeds of the consciousness for each to wake up, for each to possess as the wisdom. So, divine beings, as with this Diwali, let me chant the mantra. So, our Diwali energies have begun. This is the Siddhi Ganapathi mantra. This is the mantra from our beloved Guruji, Anne Siddha Raja Swami, Rajkumar Swamigal. This is to invoke all the power of Ganapathi within us. Keep your finger like this to absorb the mantra. Hari Om Ganamaniye Mama Mangulla Ganamaniye Mama Narmamuniyum Narmanandiyum Narmanandiyum Munmanamanalmol Yen Manamanganima Ayum Lium Namum Lium Mayum Ming Namena Yagan Hari Om. Rub our palms together to receive the blessings. Feel the left hand as your mother, right hand as our father. Feel every cell in our body grateful for being here with us as our mother and father, and the entire lineages, 7 generations before, and the Supreme Infinite Father, the Supreme Mother. Rub our palms together, receive the blessings. Divine beings, let's light the innermost lamp within ourselves. Okay. So in that way, a Diwali lamp has been lit within ourselves. Keeping our fingers like this, sit with your spinal cord erect, go down to the root chakra. When we swim and we go underwater, we hold our breath and go underwater, right? That's the way we go all the way, holding our breath, go all the way to the root chakra. And when we reach the root, we are going to say ah. We're going to say ah 3 times. And with this, we have lit our journey of Diwali. As you see the ah, make note how vast our spirit is, how vast and immense we are. That spirit is Siva, that spirit is divine, that spirit is source. Now, when you say, feel the grace of all the beings of light becoming one within our own light. See, in the eye is the pillar of light. In the eye is being in a sunlight. Within the light, radiate that light. Be the light. So, divine beings, I welcome your thoughts, questions, insights, so I can respond. Everything is vibrancy. The vibrancy we hold, the vibrancy we hold is what is causal of what unfolds as karma that we face as experience. So when our vibration has become the pillar of light, when our vibrancy is that of being the pillar of light, we are the vortex of light. We are in a moment transforming whatever the karma is into dharma, whatever the problem is into opportunity and blessings. So being in that pillar of light also means being in tapas. Every breath from source to source in mantra grace. Yes. Now, there was another question about Guru Ayah and his mantra. This is a mantra I would love to share with you as a diksha. When today, as we enter into Diwali, we have 5 days of programs, and each program is to convey this light in all its dimensions of the light within each. So, as of now, within our coming together as the satsang is, knowing that once a light, it is only natural for us to become the pillar of light with the grace. And as we become the pillar of light, our inner sun has woken up. Now, all the realities simply go around us and around us. Yes, divine being. So divine being. What is the state of Turia? In the state of Turia, we have simply gone beyond our mind, beyond the memory and the karmic patterns, and we are beginning to experience what is being the spirit having this human experience. So as a spirit having the human experience, it really means now we have unlimited ourselves. We have now become the spiritual self that is beyond confinement. So in the states of Turia is a vibrancy that allows us to access wisdom. Within here is the power of many as one. In other words, all the beings of light serve the pillar of light that we are. And they serve us as the pillar of light as in its wisdom and in its guidance and in its protective grace. So when we are in the state of Turia, we go beyond heat and cold and all the body limits. So as we go beyond the body limits, we are now, in a way, we keep unraveling newer layers of consciousness, and this is the states of Turia. Higher and higher states of Turia, higher and higher states of consciousness. Question: what is the best way to keep a high vibration during challenging times? Know that we have been given challenges only so that we can go to source and lay that challenge to source God. So at all times when you're challenged, give that to worry to God, source, and simply do what is necessary to be done. The principle of the Bhagavad Gita is, we do what we have to do, leave the results to source. So when you're faced with challenges, understand it's a duty to bring an absolute focus on what needs to be done to resolve the problem, to transform it. But at the same time, we are shifting ourselves to the higher vibration, and that higher vibration itself is the resolution to the challenge, as in the form of how everything resolves from our action and from the way the universe paves a pathway. Yes. Is there a relationship between the Ganesha's wives Ida and Pingala? Yes. See, when we are working with Ida and Pingala, we are working with our left breath and our right breath. And what is vital in the breath is understanding that one of the breath is that which actually relaxes us. When we are sleeping, just before sleep, check our breath. It will be the left breath. And that's when we are going to rejuvenate a state, when we are watching the sunrise or the sunset, or when we are mighty inspired, the sun breath is opened up. And in the sun breath, we are inspired beings. At the same time, there is another connect with Lord Ganesha's wife being called Siddhi and Riddhi. Siddhi is the power beyond power that comes from the states of Turia. Riddhi is the mind that is ready to receive that highest wisdom and transform it into intellect. So when we look into Albert Einstein's mind, that's how it worked. It is the super consciousness of the mind, of that beyond the mind, paving the mind to understand it and understand that equation in such a way that it is presented in the form of a theory, in the form of formulas, in the form of language, in the form of words. So they say the truth is one, but it is mentioned in the many dimensions. That many dimensions is Riddhi, the power of the mind, while Siddhi is the unique geniuses that wakes up. So if when we say we are celebrating this light, or this festival of light, this is the light we are celebrating, the light of consciousness that has woken us up and allowed us to move through several layers. So divine beings, I highly recommend each of you to join the 5-day Diwali program. And as we journey through our Diwali program, with each day, with focus, with each entity, it ends with the 108 dimensions uh, of Lord Muruga, with each of our reality. For the next event, which is at 1 o'clock today, where we will be invoking Ganapathi, we will be bringing grace to 18 different facets of our realities in life into the mantra grace energy that we will collectively bless and transform. So, yes, this question. Can you say more about individual mind and cosmic mind with and Ganesh, or that Siddhi and Reddy? See, the individual mind is what we are all born with. We are born with a package of karma. The moment we stepped into light, that light dissolves away the darkness, and the darkness is any imprints of our karma. Or rather, it doesn't say dissolve, it transforms that of a karma into dharma, like how Helen Keller was able to tap into the higher states through all the limits that she had. So the relationship between Siddhi and Riddhi is very much that we are all we are all born with as 5 dimensional. When we wake up now, we are the 6th dimensional. The 6th dimensional is the perfection of infinity in the finite, the perfection of being that vast timelessness in time, and the empowering states of Turia in the now that our intellect is able to process. The question, is Turia the same or a different state of Samadhi? This is a very good question. The reality is, it is one and the same. Because when you go into the states of Samadhi, you are witnessing a superconscious state. The only difference in these two is that in Samadhi, we have ceased all external activity. In Turia, we are in the external world. Like at this point, here I am allowing the flow of that wisdom in the external world. But if I close my eyes, I would go deep into my inner world of Samadhi, where I am the wheel within the wheels. So the principle is the same, but then the application of that state differs, as from sitting in the meditative state to go within Samadhi and experiencing it, or being in the world, like driving the car or doing what you're doing and experiencing and being with the states of Turia. So when you meditate, when you go into your innermost self, you're tapping into that core within. And this core within is the light of consciousness that we are celebrating. So, divine beings, looking forward to the 5 days of celebration together. An email follows. And as we go through Diwali, light a lamp every day and invoke the divine and affirm, I am source, God, spirit. I am the grace of all the masters. I am the grace light, a light. I am the light celebrating this human experience. And my light uplifts me and uplifts humanity in oneness, grace, happiness, fulfillment, healing, awakening, grace of joy will be with each one of us. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.